All right, we are back. Episode 12 of Morning Shoot Around, and it is the OG crew, bare bones, for another one. It's Christian Delbianco. It's the man who built the place, Tyler Pace, Ty Klarner behind the camera, and Tino Farah here. And you got something to say already here?
I thought you were going to say something in third person there, but that's fine.
No, I listened back, and I was just cringing last week when I was like, I never say who I was so uncomfortable when I was listening back to that. So I don't want to do that. I might just never introduce myself ever again. This episode and this show, of course, brought to you by the Performance Center, as well as Extreme Threads. With over 15 years of industry-leading customer service, a local family owner-operated business, Extreme is your one-stop shop for all your business and team apparel needs. Specializing in custom sublimated team uniforms worn by teams and clubs around the world. Contact them today to customize your team with Extreme. Before we get too far, Tyler Pace, please explain this shirt you're wearing.
Well, I got my favorite golf shirt on because it's now official that this whole cast is in golf season.
Yeah, I asked him when he got here. I was like, did you go golfing today? No, it's just that time of year.
It is. It's that time of year.
You're not really a golfer, are you?
No, he is.
I like golfing.
He likes to try
I'm not
golf.
good at golf.
He puts in the effort.
Yeah, I try.
Okay.
I try. But no, I was going to say about Extreme, we just got our summer uniforms. They are nice. They look good. So, yeah, they do an amazing job. If you're looking for uniforms for your team, definitely go to Extreme Threads. They offer a wide variety of options, and you can kind of sublimate them and customize them however you want to.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah, literally anything.
Any idea.
You could make this shirt.
I was going to say, they could probably make you more of those.
Yeah,
if you
for
wanted.
sure. The other thing is the gym, the Performance Center. So we have just launched a new program. I sent out a few emails yesterday to some associations, but we're going to be offering open gym. So the idea is that from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock, an association or a team can book their slot. And any player from that organization can come through as long as they're U15 aged or older. And we'll have a trainer on site with a quote unquote workout of the day. You know, it's not going to be guided by a trainer, but it's as if you're going to any gym. We'll make sure that you're not, hurting yourself. You're doing the exercises correctly. But you'll have access to the shooting cage, to the recovery pants, the squat racks, to really anything in here. We got a kind of a film area. We got a lounge area. So there's a bunch you can do here, and if you're interested, just let us know, and we'll get you in here.
And who are some of the guys that will be here training people that come through to the
so we got Wasif, Clark, and Keegan. So we've got a professional lacrosse player, a former McGill soccer player with a degree in kinesiology, and then we got a former WHL hockey player who's just completed the BMO marathon in like 3 hours and 21 minutes. Like he crushed it. Yeah. So we got some dogs as trainers here. Machines. We got some dogs and they can help really any athlete get to that place they want to get to.
Beautiful.
As a performer.
And just one more time for if people want to reach out, like how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, get a hold of me directly. If you have my email me. Or just email the gym, pcperformancecenter.com. We'll hope to see you.
I got to tell you guys about an interaction that I had over the weekend. I ran into a buddy of mine that plays on my senior C team, and he was like, "Hey, I've started listening to the podcast. Delbs and Pace just bully you, hey."
I think it's even bullying across the board. Like, you're not a victim here. We all get it.
I wasn't the one who said it, and I just kind of, yeah, sure.
Here we go.
Now we have to go to HR.
Yeah. We are HR.
Just
slam the
You want the
door.
Aladdin news or the Aladdin news?
Pace, did you get any blowback or any conversations from your rant about travel last week?
No, pretty much everybody who talked to me about it was like, yeah, I agree with you. So that's good. I mean, it's probably biased. They're not going to say it to me if they disagree, but
I think you're an idiot.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like, that went out there. My girlfriend she's like, you were very like aggressive in that monologue, in that rant. I was like, yeah, because I'm heated about it.
Yeah, you're upset. That's okay.
I hope there's more like heated topics that you go on about, because I kind of liked like rampage Tyler. It was exciting.
Yeah, that's like a bulk of what that's like our carpooligans. It's just like argue about
Over
stuff.
stupid stuff. Though that was like a pretty there was some relevance on that one. It wasn't just
Yeah.
us talking about
Orca
gorillas
whales.
and orca whales.
Yeah.
A lot of wildlife. Now that I
Yeah.
think of it.
PETA is not a fan of
No.
morning shoot.
Squashing bugs.
All right. Well, we are almost the rest of the way through to the finals of the NLL, which means there was some more semifinal games that went down this past weekend. And before we talk about them, Tyler Pace, I think that means it's time for some recap. So, Delbs, maybe cover your ears a little bit for this one.
Oh boy, haven't heard this one yet.
This is your Week 2 playoff recap. We start in Buffalo, where a packed house welcomed the Warriors riding a 7-game win streak. Vancouver opened the scoring on the power play before Buffalo scored 6 unanswered, leading to a quick catch and release of Del Bianco. I didn't have that in my bingo card, but he caught his breath and found his rhythm, only allowing 3 goals following the walk of shame. Ian McKay led the way with 4 goals. Josh Byrne tallied 5 points, and Matt Vince only allowed 3 goals on 38 shots. The champs put on a masterclass and planted a seed of doubt into anybody thinking they'd lost their touch. Bandits 9, Warriors 3. Off to Halifax, where the lower-seeded team hosted the first game of the series. The location made no difference to Saskatchewan, as their high-powered offense, athletic defense, and goalie of the year favorite dominated from the opening whistle. I wish we could award a Purple Heart to the referees, as they allowed Ryan Keenan to get peeled in garbage time. Halifax sent the message that the series is going to be a bloodbath, but 3 penalty shots to stretch the lead further had Saskatchewan heading back to the prairies feeling good, like Michael Bublé. Shank secured the sock trick, and Mans produced the quietest 9-point playoff performance I've seen, while Frank the Tank shut the door, allowing only 7 goals on 48 shots before exiting the game late. Get your popcorn ready, because Game 2 is going to be electric. Rush 16, Thunderbirds 7. We wrap things up in BC, where the atmosphere at Rogers Arena was the best Vancouver has seen since Dan Stroop and Dwight the Mattress Metke repped the Ravens jersey. The BMO blockathon continued into the rink, where Vino only had to stop 29 shots as the force field of Buffalo defenders soaked shots all night long. This was a back-and-forth affair and as exciting of a playoffs as a lacrosse game as you'll find in the playoffs. In a must-win game, Adam Charlambides led the way for Vancouver with 7 points, but the depth of Buffalo did their thing, with 7 players recording at least 3 points. Buffalo punches their ticket again to the NLL Championship Series. Bandits 11, Warriors 9, and that's your Week 2 playoff recap.
Pretty well hit the post.
I hit the post there.
Yeah, that's unreal.
That's pretty sick.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
So 3 games is the ideal for
Yeah.
for your recaps. For
Those are like longer ones. At least the middle one was.
Yeah, I mean, let's just get into some of these games before. Well, first, I actually want to ask you guys, because whenever Buffalo is going on their run, the topic of discussion is oftentimes, like you mentioned, they're blocking shots, but specifically like some of their guys standing in the crease and stuff like that. I'm so curious to hear your guys' take on it, because I know like Curtis Dixon had a tweet about it, about guys not being allowed to stand in the crease, and I know there's always a discussion about maybe altering a rule or changing things like that, or anything. I'm just curious to know where you guys come out on that.
I think it's allowed. Like, I think it's not that easy to do. Like, I think as much as people complain, like, there is a willingness, and I think we talked about it last week a bit. How it kind of changes the game moving forward, I don't know. Teams will adjust. I think you're going to kind of see more teams rather adopt that style, or you're going to see teams starting to shoot the ball with ill intent. There's going to be teams shooting the ball as hard as they can, as high as they can at people's throats and heads. And I think that's going to be the only way to get people to get out of the way, because Buffalo's guys clearly have shown that they're gritty enough and they're going to stand in there. And if the rules are the rules, guys are going to do what they have to do to get the ball on net.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess they could implement like a 3 seconds in the key type rule. But I don't know. Like Delbs said, it's sort of it's like a glitch in what you can do. And if it's successful and you keep winning because of something like that, it's like all the power to you. Keep doing it. And as much as the idea of like shooting with ill intent is maybe a thought, it's not like as a shooter, you don't think that. You know what I mean? Like, unless somebody greases you in like a a senior B game in the summer and you want to address it.
Then Tyler's crow hopping into it.
But like in the NLL, it's hard to get open for a shot to begin with, and then when you do get open, you're thinking about scoring, not necessarily about like decapitating someone.
Yeah. The only other way that I've ever seen it handled was Buffalo versus Colorado. Colorado ran like a bulldozer play where Zeddy would go through the crease and actually like basically set a moving pick through the crease, cutting through the crease to plow out that lower defender.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
stuff like that. But I just don't know how do you officiate it, right? Like even if you are going to put in a rule for that, it's just so hard to, on the fly, you're going to blow the whistle and stop the game because there's two guys in the crease.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things, like you got to just give Buffalo credit that they're extremely good at it. They've bought into the concept. And if it was that easy, like the tush push in the NFL, everyone would be doing it.
Yeah. Did you see there was like a Instagram
Of you?
of me shooting
Yeah.
with Dawson
Yeah,
going
just
full scarecrow?
Crab walking.
And then there was a picture posted, not of me shooting, but there was a picture posted of like what a shooter sees, and it was like 3 Buffalo defenders. You couldn't even see Vino in the background, and then Dallas Elliott was like, he said something along the lines of Vino could hang his post game suit in net, and he'd still win these
Yeah.
games.
Dallas is an all-time Vino hater.
Oh yeah,
I love Dallas. I think he's hilarious. But whenever stuff comes up with Vino, he always has an opinion on it. I'm a pretty big fan of both the guys, but it cracks me up sometimes.
I'm pretty sure Dallas has me blocked on Twitter.
oh he's the best.
What did you do to Dallas?
He's the best.
He was going at like Pat Gregoire like really hard for a stretch of weeks a few years ago or something like that. And I just, when I was on the previous podcast, I just was like, I disagree with you. Like I remember
That's my friend.
and yeah, he blocked me on Twitter. But it was funny you bring up that video because I put here in the notes like the post. It was a Garrett Eddy video of you, and it was just ironic timing because you were just talking about it on last episode, and the expression on your face in that video is like you just you roll your eyes so hard
Yeah.
and just looked at the ceiling. It was so funny. I thought.
Yeah, it's tough. Like you get a shot, like that shot is in point blank. You get a shot with that kind of space in the NLL, like we're supposed to score those goals. So then you got 2 guys standing in front of you.
It's
like
it is
willing to
hilarious
soak the
because
shot.
even
It's
if
like, come on.
even if Doss didn't get it, I think it was like Martin or somebody is right there.
behind
Right
him
behind
too.
him.
Like I have to
And
get
then
it through
there's
3
Vino.
layers. Yeah,
And then you have the greatest goalie of all time.
it's crazy.
But yeah, I mean, eventually a team will figure it out, I'm sure.
All right, let's get into these games here a little bit, and we'll start with we'll get Vancouver Buffalo out of the way here so we can move on as quickly as Delbs needs us to. But game 1, you know, I actually didn't think that game 1 was maybe as bad as how it looked. I think people were a little bit rattled based on Vancouver only scoring 3 goals and none of them were even strength. But aside from that stretch in the second quarter where, you know, it's like 3 goals within basically 2 minutes and, you know, Bandit Land is going crazy. Like Steve Ewan said to me on Sunday at game 2, he was like, 9 goals, like that's still a very winnable game kind of thing. So I don't know. I thought that game wasn't as bad as maybe what the vibe kind of showed based on Vancouver scoring.
Yeah, I think in order to beat Buffalo, like the reality is they have so much offensive depth. Their D is big and willing to block shots, and then obviously there's Vino. That's a whole nother problem. So I think whenever you're playing them, you have to play so close to mistake-free lacrosse. And I think that night we didn't, right? Like there was a couple squeakers that went right through me, right in the second there, and then just kind of inopportune penalties and stuff like that, and then not capitalizing when you do finally get those looks. So I don't think at any point like we're victims or like it's like one of those things like, oh, the better team didn't win. Like, no, Buffalo was the better team. They won. So I think Friday night was definitely kind of one of those situations where we just weren't crisp enough. And then obviously come home for Sunday and it felt like we were trending in the right direction. We came out in the third quarter there buzzing. Clarich had a big goal and they just did what Buffalo does. They answered, and I think it wasn't necessarily just Dane and Josh hurting us, right? McKay's been on a roll. Fraser obviously scores the ridiculous goal that got me on Pat McAfee's show, so that's great. But like Kluche's there, Tahoka, you have Buchanan who plays a great role for them. So they just do it in all phases of the game, and I think it kind of sets the bar of, as a team in Vancouver, we know where we need to get if we want to be the champs next year.
I thought Brad Challoner had a really good quote on the broadcast, and so I wrote it down here because I wanted to read it to you guys. He says, in talking about Buffalo, they just know when to elevate, what elevation looks like, and what sacrifice looks like. As they're able to up their physicality, they up their passing and their pace on offense. Everything steps up, and so does their goaltender. It starts and ends with 48 in between the pipes, and I thought that was just like so well put that they know when to turn it on.
Yeah, I do think the rest of the league's kind of waiting on Vino to retire.
Yeah.
They just, where do they slow down, right? They have the financial means as a team. Like, they have the 2 highest paid players in the league on one roster, and they obviously bring in revenue in Buffalo, and they're able to be creative with their finances and how they compensate players. And then guys are obviously willing to take cuts to be there, right? So you kind of look at the way that they retool, and I think we talked about it when they brought in Ron John and Matisse this year, and it's like they just keep maintaining and keep getting better and better. So eventually, like, something's got to go, right? So I think everyone's kind of sitting there saying, hopefully Vino just gets bored of winning and we can all have the league back.
Yeah, they've also like gotten through these playoffs these last 3 years, and what was it, 5 years now?
Yeah.
Straight, where, knock on wood, they haven't had.
Did you just knock on your crotch?
Yeah, knock on wood.
That's outrageous.
They haven't had any like injuries to deal with. You know what I mean? Like, for the most part, their dogs have always been healthy. And when your best players are healthy, you look at, and I know Colorado won that year, but they lost Eli McLaughlin for a bit. They lost Ryan Lee for the rest of the season. This season, they lose Zed Williams. They lose Eli again. It's like, it's very difficult to win if you don't have your 2 main people on offense. And they've, like I said, I don't wish that anybody gets hurt, but they've been able to get through this healthy for the last 5 years. And to do that for that long, it's like a testament to the kind of work that they're putting in behind the scenes. And also what you kind of mentioned, I think like their experience at these phases of the playoffs plays a role. Like, they know throughout the season, this is sort of the dog days of the NLL season. We already secured our spot. We don't necessarily have to show all our stuff or play as hard as we think we can, or we know we can. And then when the spotlight's on and it's the brightest, they know, and they're calm and they're confident in those situations, and they can just turn it on. And I think that, as amazing as a season as Vancouver had this year, that's the first time they've gotten to that point. And the lack of experience, like, compared to the wealth of experience, just showed in the last 2 games there.
Let's talk about Sask now.
well, okay, we can move on to the next series. Well, I had one more point here, but I'll
You can say
Go.
I'm just being an idiot, Tino. I'm not that. I'm not going to cry about it. I already did yesterday.
Well, I'd love to hear, and I'm sure other people as well would kind of love for you to take us into the room after that. Obviously, like, in Kurt's post-game press conference, he was talking about how
Yeah, we were just hammering beers. We were so happy, Tino. Like, there was another great meal. No, Tino, it sucks, right? Like, that's sport, and I don't think it matters what round it is. It doesn't matter if your team missing the playoffs, right? I think whenever it's that last game as a group, right? Like, no matter how much money an ownership has, or no matter how great of a season you had, like, it's always going to change. It's never going to be the same dressing room. I think over the 8 years of my NL career, 8.5, I think it might be now, like, it's never been the same the year after, right? Whether that be in Calgary, us losing guys like Dan McRae, right? Greg Harnett, losing guys like Dane Doby, Curtis Dixon. So, like, it's just a part of the way it is. So I think there's kind of that feeling of, this was fun and it's sad, right? Like, guys are crying, and other people that, like, are involved in the organization are sad too, right? Like, our trainers give so much time, and guys like Dave Sheldon, right? So it is kind of one of those things where you sit back and you reflect, but I think you try not to cry about it forever, but it is a tough feeling at the moment.
And it's also too, like, because you're not going to travel next weekend, it's sort of like the last hoorah. So it's like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour of being sad and somber and, like, not really playing music in the room. And then, you move on, because it's like, this is the last chance that as a team we're going to be together. Like, let's get after it a little bit and have sort of one last big night. And for some people, it's like, this is their retirement party. And for other people, they're going to be on different teams next year. And for other people, you just don't see them for the summer. So you get after it one last time, and then you're sad for about a week, and then you get ready for golf season.
Yeah, I think only like the reality is only one team every year gets to finish the year winning their last game, pretty much.
Yeah. I did have a question though about, and I think it's something that young goalies or young coaches or really anybody would be interested, is like when you come to the bench in that scenario, you get the 6 scored on you, you go to the bench. What is the conversation, if any conversation? Like, what's going through your head? How are you getting back ready to play?
I try to go to the bench as slow as possible because I usually realize it's like kind of like it's a timeout, like a break for the team also. Like, I mean, I think that one was more I was letting in weak goals. But you just kind of go to the bench. T-Rich kind of talks to me quickly. Mouse usually like goes and gives me like you're going back in. And I'm like, yeah, I know, right? Like, it's kind of what we've done my whole career. We just kind of hit the reset. And I think that was one of those nights personally I felt like there's other nights that I make the same mistakes and the balls go off me and out. That night, they all went off me and into the net, right? You look at the Tohoka one where it's almost a pass behind the net and I deflected in my own net. You look at Josh Byrne kind of comes over top, throws a twister 5-hole, goes off my stick and in. Ian in transition, short side, gloving in, right? Like, those are all kind of shots that sometimes when you have better ball luck, they don't go in. Even if it's 2 of those 3 not going in, it can be a difference. That night, I paid for my mistakes. So you kind of just come to the bench, process the information, and go back in with a blank slate and play where your feet are.
Do you guys know, like, remind me here, is it a finals MVP or is it a playoff MVP?
It's finals MVP, but I feel like they kind of loop it in.
Yeah.
And then you're going to say Ian McKay because he scored 1 billion goals on me.
Well, I was
going
to say, between him and Vino, like, if you were giving it to one, like, to somebody right now, I would imagine they're kind of the front runners, I would think. Who, like,
I don't know.
between those two.
Look at what Sask is doing.
And also only 1 game played, like, in the semis for them so far. So I mean, like, I guess
if Shanksy scores another 6.
Yeah,
Has 6
maybe
in
different
that
story.
one.
He was having
Mans
so much
has
fun.
9 points. Like Frankie, it's not like Frankie's
Yeah, there's
lighting in a
good
ton of
players.
goals.
I think Mans had more than that.
He had 9 points in the last game. 2 and 7.
I have him
Quiet, sneaky.
I have him at 3 and 8.
Huh.
I
Well, I just looked at NLL.com.
I don't know if we touched on this last week, but Bowie doing the Euro step celebration the week before cracked me up so much. I thought that was so good. Shanksy's, sorry, I'm just
like on the goal line.
yeah,
that was
and
slick.
just like
Yeah.
so casual.
Slick.
yeah.
I was trying to decide when I was watching that back, like I was watching their highlights before we came out here. I was trying to decide if, like, is the net off in that case a little bit? And
I think just like most goalies aren't thinking like
sharp angle.
Yeah, it's like the shot's there, but most guys don't have the cojones to.
It's also like a perfect shot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
most guys aren't shooting that because
No.
like they're just like it's low percentage.
Low percentage, and there's 25 seconds left on the shot clock on the power play. Like, most guys aren't considering that shot. But
He was hot play of that
hot.
night there.
It was hot. Like, when you're
So
hot,
hot.
you just shoot to stay hot, kind of thing.
So this point then might be up for debate because clearly, Tyler, you and I have different stat lines for Zach Mans, but off the numbers that I have, Zach Mans and Austin Shanks combined for 21 points between the two of them, which is
so who had what?
well. So
Shanks,
I have
it says Shanks had 6, and then Mans had 9. That's what I had.
I have Mans with
So you
3
didn't have
and
a
8.
single assist.
No, he's a shooter.
What a beauty! That's the man.
Let it go, buddy.
Okay, maybe I'm trusting your numbers more than mine.
No,
but,
you can look. You trust whatever you want.
and then for the final, essentially when there was less than 3 minutes left in the game, there were a combined 80 minutes in penalties in game 1 between Sask and Halifax. It's just insane.
My boy, Concerned Citizen, the guy that always chirps me on Twitter, he tried to say like Sask was soft. It's like they're up 8 goals. Like, who cares? Like, why would they be getting into fights right now? Like, that to me, like, I understand Halifax like showing life and showing grit, but if you're Sask, like, who cares? Look at the scoreboard. You're going back to your own barn to try to finish the series.
Yeah, the only one that really bugged me was how the referees handled the Keenan situation.
Crazy. It's crazy.
Like, he got pulled out of a pile, basically. Like, he clearly did not want to be in that fight. Nor does anybody really want to be in that fight with Thompson there. But he's like, the refs have them split up. At that point in a tie-up, it's done. Like, the refs are in there. You guys talk your shit all you want, but it's done. You guys are going to the penalty box, finish the game, whatever. to then leave them to like fight in that scenario,
It's not like it's two fighters.
it's not two fighter. Like read the room there a little bit, understand the situation, like the score of the game and what Halifax is trying to do in that situation, and the fact that the captain of the Rush, who's an O guy who like I don't know that he has any fights in his career, doesn't want to be in that situation, and they're like allowing that to happen. I was pretty choked
I don't
about
think
that.
like it's obviously it's not like the refs have ill intent there, but it is like it's a player safety standpoint, right? And like that's like if you want to tell guys like that they can't like throw jabs back, and once the refs are in there, they're in there, and then you let that go, it kind of sets a bad standard of okay, like well if say Halifax is up, right? Like who says that they don't go grab one of like they don't go grab Clark or something, send Mess after him, and oh the refs are in there, but that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what game 2 looks like if it goes anywhere in that kind of a direction.
I was gonna say go grab Randy, but Randy's pretty nails.
Yeah, he's a tough guy.
Yeah. I was like,
He's a
yeah, maybe
tough
not
guy.
Randy. Randy would just fight.
That Halifax is a tough team. Like I'm not taking that away from them, and they, they're down a bunch late in that game. Like you try to set the tone for game 2 because you're not winning game 1 there. But again, I just think in that specific scenario, it's like don't allow that to happen because there's a good chance that Keenan gets hurt and is unable to play game 2, and like nobody wants that.
Well, so that was actually going to be one of my questions. You say like kind of setting the tone for game 2. Like watching that, my thought was, is this Halifax sending a message, or is this Halifax kind of losing their cool a little bit?
But like, what would be the message? Like, it's playoffs. You can't afford to like. If the game was a close game, they can't act that way. So at the start of next game, they can't play on that level of intensity or toughness, right? Because if you go get a 5-minute penalty, it's
Yeah.
going to cost you the game potentially.
I think though what it does is like if it fuels it like angers Saskatchewan. You know what I mean? Like they're leaving that like kind of pissed off. Yeah, they won the game, but it's like, man, they're fucking peeling our captain. They're doing this, they're doing that, like these greasy assholes. Like it could lead to 5 minutes into game 2 where someone on Saskatchewan takes like a greasy penalty as retribution, and it's a goal here, a goal there on the power play, and it's tough to claw back.
Man, I so hope that Saskatchewan is able to fill that building or get some more people, because
It's crazy.
That-
The team's doing good. Like, what else do you need, Sask?
yeah, like and this is becoming a legitimate rivalry in the NLL, Halifax and Saskatchewan, and now there's a new chapter being written with all of this, literal blood being spilt in game 1. That's going to be must watch lacrosse in my opinion, and there's potentially 2 games going on in that building, which is a little ridiculous. I mean, I know we talked already about the situation of it, but
Okay.
the
Yeah. Just hear the music on the Jumbotron.
So game 2 is Saturday at it's a 6:30 Pacific start time. Game 3, if needed, is Sunday 5 p.m. Pacific. So there's less. It's the game 3 is less than 24 hours later if it goes to game 3, which seems. When you talk about a player safety issue, that seems a little ridiculous to me.
Yeah, the whole thing is ridiculous, but it probably has to do with like the flight options to get the Halifax guys out of there.
Yeah.
Like if they're going to try to take a red eye on the Sunday, like there's only so much time in that day to get on that flight kind of thing. Unless they stay till Monday, but then it's like how many days of work are we missing here?
Yeah. Okay, I want to get you guys to, like, each of you to kind of walk us through a bit of the contract negotiation process in the NLL, and like it's a little bit different perspectives maybe because what do you think?
I don't know, there's just so many good stories.
Yeah.
Like me and Tyler have had group contracts for like the last 3 years.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, well, the context here is that you're both UFAs going into the offseason here. It's a little bit different because Delbs, in your situation, you and Kurt have both publicly said that the plan is to have you
I
in
don't know.
Vancouver.
I
for
don't
the
know.
next 10 to
I don't know
15.
about that.
And
Taking away my leverage, Tino.
what leverage? And then Tyler, your situation in Calgary is obviously quite a bit different. So I would just, and I'm sure fans as well would love to hear, like, what does the negotiation process look like in the NLL when a new contract is up? Like, how I don't think either of you guys do, but how many, by your knowledge, how many guys have agents? Are most people just doing it like GM to player, kind of individually? Like, what is that like?
I mean, I think we start with kind of personal, how we handle. Like, I've never really had an agent. My father-in-law loosely kind of advises me. I've started to kind of jokingly call him Don King because he gets a little corrupt for his own self-interest sometimes. But I think for the most part, you kind of just you touch base with the GM. It kind of becomes like a cat and mouse game of who's going to put the first offer on the table. But over my course of time in Calgary, it was usually just me and Bordy would hop on a call. And within kind of 1 to 2 days, we'd find a number that we both agreed upon. Obviously, my circumstance was probably a little different, being one of the top players, and then not really being a guy who chased like the last 10 cents every time. But there's also other variables, right? In Calgary, a lot of times what we would do to try to increase leverage for other guys, and as a team, kind of we'd group together, whereas 3 or 4 guys saying, okay, I'm happy with this number, but I'm not signing it until you take care of my friend. And I think that was something that obviously put the organization in a tough spot, but it kind of brought the players closer together, right? When it was like, we're in this together. And there was a couple training camps where we were all sitting there saying, hey, if you don't get this guy done, like, we won't be there.
Yeah. And Delbs was always like team friendly contracts to allow for other guys to kind of share the wealth a little bit. And then, I guess it was your last 2 years with Calgary. Like we kind of banded together and we had sort of our internal like separate group chat.
It was 5 really good players together.
Yeah. 5. Yeah. Yeah. 5 kind of core pieces of that team together, basically saying what he said, like, we're not signing unless you're signing all of us to the numbers that make us all happy, because, and in Calgary in particular, like, we just weren't. And it's kind of, I feel like at this point, it's kind of known that with the amount of tickets that they sell, for the amount of beers that they sell, for the amount of parking that they sell, for whatever it is, the value that they give to like their players is just not as luxurious as some other places. And so you see every season guys are leaving in the off season to go and chase the money a little bit somewhere else. And so we basically as a group said, like, no, enough is enough. Like, we want to get our money. And if you don't want to pay us, then none of us are going to play, basically. But for me personally, it's, I don't know what I would say. It's not as civil as Christian's negotiations are. Like, there's a lot of,
It's bad when the guy who sits out 12 games was the civil negotiator.
yeah. Delbs is the civil negotiator of the two of us.
We do not negotiate with terrorists.
No, I guess it's like it's kind of like a game of chicken in a sense, where it's like, okay, if you think, like, I think this is what I'm worth, and if you don't think that I'm worth this, then play the season without me, and then when you come calling, then I'm going to be asking for more, kind of thing. And they're going to say, well, you're not going to leave this amount of money on the table, so take it or leave it, basically, and we'll play without you, or we'll make trades, or we'll do this, or we'll do that. So it's a bit of a game of chicken. And again, I'm trying to, when I sign contracts, I'm trying to do it in a way that, yes, it's going to benefit me, but it also benefits like future contract negotiations for other players. For example, I added in a clause where if I were to get hurt, that my contract is guaranteed. So there's only a handful of guys across the league that have that in their contract. But now
You're the first guy in Calgary to get it, I think.
yeah, now the precedent is there for other guys in Calgary to say, like, hey, Pace had it in his contract, so I want that in my contract. So it benefits the players. And of course, I do it to benefit myself first and foremost, but like the bigger picture is that it helps other guys on our team and across the league to get to that like next level of contract negotiation.
And you're kind of talking about that cat and mouse game a little bit. Like, you were in that position, you were holding out for a little while until, like, how many games until you
I just missed one.
just missed one game?
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah, I was the chicken.
so like, what is that not process, but is it awkward at that point, like where you're kind of sitting back watching the team or hearing about the team practicing, playing, and they're obviously anticipating you eventually coming back, but neither kind of wants to make the first move?
I think as one of the other guys that held out this year, it's hard as like a teammate, right? It's hard. Like, you still have relationships with guys and you want to be there and be accountable for your teammates. And like, for me, it was a little different, obviously, because it was more of like, hey, I'm out. but it's a weird position to put yourself in where you're trying to be compensated, you're trying to be a good teammate still, but the reality is you can't just sign something that you're not happy with.
Yeah. And then for me, I guess this year, it was strange because the team was so different. Like the changes that were made this past offseason, like the locker room was a completely different locker room for the most part. Like the goalie's different. We don't have Shane Simpson. We don't have Zach Currier. Dane Doby and Curtis Dixon are back. Like it's a lot changes in those 3 months. And so for me to miss like all the training camp to get to know some of the new guys or the rookies, or to reconnect with some of the older guys, like to miss that time was tough. And then to come back ahead of game 2, and basically like, hey, I'm Tyler. It's like a weird scenario, and it's hard to like get your bearings for a couple weeks for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough, right? And I think as like a team, it's like a point of anxiety, right? Like when you don't know if your teammate's going to be there or not. Like it's kind of like you're stressed, like you're talking to Tyler, you're talking to Bordy, right? Like that kind of thing. And I think throughout all of this, like I always enjoyed my negotiating with Bordy. I thought me and Bordy were able to kind of keep things civil even when we didn't see eye to eye. But it is one of those things where it's like it's hard because it becomes like, do you not see the value in me? Like that kind of thing. And you just have to separate and realize it's a business.
Yeah, and there's a lot of really notable unrestricted free agents coming up this offseason. So I think there's going to be some there's going to be some really interesting conversations coming up in a handful of months. This one's a little bit kind of off the board in terms of something we haven't really talked about throughout this show. The PLL draft is it's over now. It was tonight.
Never heard of that league.
Yeah. CJ Kirst, I bet, got drafted 1 overall.
Yeah, he did.
Never heard of him.
Yeah.
To Philly. Number
Good
2
player.
was, I got the top 3
That's
here.
the guy who just beat Peyton Cormier, right?
Yeah, he's a good
I
player.
hope Corms doesn't watch
I
this.
was going to say, does he listen?
Somebody will send that to him and he'll just eat him up.
Andrew McAdory of Duke went to California, and Sam English also goes to the Redwoods.
Sam English is slick, eh?
He's legit. Yeah, he's really good.
Got drafted to Toronto,
Yeah,
right?
I think 2nd overall or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's good.
On top of the fact
So
that we
athletic.
have first 3 picks.
Yeah, he's so
CJ
athletic.
Kirst also going there.
Yeah.
Delbs, you played field growing up as well, right? Like you were a
Yeah.
goalie in field.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
What happened? Yeah, I can't spell, Tino. That's what happened. No, I wasn't good enough.
well, I mean,
On top of the fact that I couldn't spell.
Well,
Both true.
Tyler said he went to school to play lacrosse. I mean, like
Yeah, but you still have to like get in. With
Yeah, you still have to
school.
get there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure Delbs
You know
is
what
good,
word
but he's
I
not
saw
good at
that was
words.
just wild is hors d'oeuvre. How that's spelled. There's not a chance I could spell that. Somebody said,
He's like planning his wedding. What the hell? What is this?
What is this word? Like, why are we paying so much for this?
I
Some
went
sort of fancy napkin.
I went back the other day to watch.
Centerpieces.
I went back and watched recently the Delbs spelling clip. That's an all-time moment.
That's just whenever we get a good one at Tino, he just goes and sits in his car for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Idiot, Delbs can't spell.
They're bullying me.
Can you spell hors d'oeuvre?
OEURDEURVE.
Let me
Maybe.
look
Oh, yeah, sorry.
The
Look it
difference
up,
this
look it up.
time is that like the rest of us in the room knew at the time how to spell it, so it was like immediate, like, haha, you
no,
idiot.
It was wild. When
Now
I saw
nobody
it, I
knows
was
how to
like-
spell it.
Hors d'oeuvre. Yeah, I think
I think there's
I
like
was
a
close.
little comma thing too.
Accent aigu.
I don't know. Some sort of baguette.
Accent grave.
Yeah.
This used to be French guy.
I have to ask Sharps.
There's no way this is how you spell it.
I'm
Okay,
telling
wait.
you.
I have to
It's
to
crazy.
read you how I spelt it intentionally wrong to like get it, but I was just sounding it out just to get it. So I spelt it ORDERVE. The correct spelling is HORS space D apostrophe OEU OEUVRE.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
We're idiots.
That's
There are gonna be
crazy.
so many people like you guys are fucking idiots.
Yeah, I knew that one exactly.
Yeah.
You at one point signed a deal in the PLL, did you not? Like I
No,
thought,
I never signed a deal.
but weren't you going
You're
to a tryout or something?
Gonna go to camp.
Yeah, I was
with
gonna
the
go to
dogs
tryout.
at one point.
Yeah.
No.
I was gonna try out, but then I wasn't allowed to go.
Yeah, and then he was Pio till he dios.
Yeah, then I played senior B.
Is that what turned into you playing senior B?
Yeah.
Wow, what could have been?
Yeah. Fine, I can't play PLL. I'll just go play senior B.
I didn't want to play in that league anyways,
Yeah.
Paul.
Yeah.
Were you reaching out to PLL teams, or did they reach out to you at that point?
I think Zach put in a good word for me. Zach Courier put in a good word. And when Zach Courier's doing that for you, like whoever the coach is reaches out, basically.
The best player in the world.
Yeah.
Said this guy's good.
Yeah. So very nice of him. But yeah, it just didn't work out. And I mean, that ship has probably sailed for me. I don't imagine I get the call anytime soon when they got guys like CJ Kurtz
Be
coming.
the oldest rookie in league
Yeah.
history.
Rookie blue. Yeah. it just-
35-year-old Tyler Pace takes the field.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah.
Did you see the shirt he was wearing? That's going to get you the contract.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really regret it though. Like it's you get an opportunity to play in a senior B league because it doesn't work out with the PLL. And I've made some amazing memories with that and have some pretty funny stories to go with it as well.
And some all-time beauties.
Yeah. Some beauty guys.
I also put a note in here as well. The NCAA Division I Men's Championship starts this week. It actually starts tomorrow at the day of recording this. And there's a couple of pro caliber lacrosse products that are going to be taking part here. Silas Richmond for Albany, who they're going to take on Siena. Also, that game is tomorrow.
Ben
And then-
Coghill.
Yeah, Ben Coghill also on Albany, and Ty Banks plays for Georgetown. They will play Duke on May 10th. Am I missing anybody?
I'm sure you are. I haven't even looked at the bracket to know who's in and who's not in. So I'd have to go through it and then come back to you on that because I don't know for sure. All I know is Denver was not very good this year.
They weren't in.
They didn't make it.
Tough. Okay, well, I mean, that's not great podcasting. I was really hoping you were just going to go into
sorry, I didn't
Just
have
like,
it.
these guys are great.
Yeah, who's in the tournament?
Yeah, let me open up the bracket here. So it's in the smallest font you've ever seen. Albany, Siena, Cornell, North Carolina,
Jeremy Lant, Cornell,
Richmond, Penn State, Colgate, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Princeton,
Dorian Connolly, Ohio State.
Yeah.
Towson, Syracuse, Harvard, Duke, Georgetown, Maryland, Robert Morris, and Air Force.
No Armitage, Maryland.
Mhm.
Nobody at Air Force. Yeah, I think that's it.
You have no RMU guys, eh?
No
Robert Morris?
No.
Really?
Ben Simmons.
Yeah, actually.
Ben Simmons.
As a D mid though.
Yeah. Ben Simmons recruited as a goalie,
Yeah, just
converted to D mid.
yeah, just bought in, like wanted to play, so he just adapted and overcame.
God damn. Believe it or not, we're at the end of the notes here.
wow.
Yeah, pretty.
Wow, this is a short episode. We better start talking about some things.
Well, I actually want to ask, like, this is something that we've tossed around a little bit as like a potential idea, and maybe it's something that we do for the finals, depending on how this weekend goes. But would love to hear if this is something the listeners and the viewers would be into as well. Like, we've discussed maybe doing like a watch party, like a Manning cast sort of style, where. I mean, Delbs, it was mostly me and Pace talking about it. I mean, I didn't really want to talk about it while you were.
Yeah,
while
they're
you
like,
were
hey, Delbs, do you want to go watch the finals together? I was like, guys, I'm in the semifinals, so can we pretend like I have a chance? Dickheads.
But I know it was something the NLL did a few years ago with like Teddy and Pat, and they brought guests on and stuff. I think people would really enjoy like guys like the two of you sitting down and kind of sharing some thoughts while the game is going on. I think, people love the Manning cast, so I think that's something that people would be into.
We're not paid in an Eli Manning,
No.
though.
That'd be nice though.
Yeah, that would be nice. You kind of got the forehead for it.
That's
Got
a
him.
good one. Yeah.
Got him.
I was watching Gruden's QB camp.
Oh,
It's
so
so
good.
good. Have you seen Gruden's QB camp? But
No.
he brought up Eli Manning, and Eli was in the Gruden's QB camp, so that's why it reminded me of that. But
He's an electric factor.
he's an amazing human being. Yeah.
Like him, and I think he went to go talk to like Nebraska the other day, and he's like talking about like things that you need to do to like be a better
Oh
team.
yeah, yeah,
He said, say it with me now. Say it with me.
Yeah.
3 times.
yeah. He's awesome.
Yeah.
One of the QBs was like, "Man, I had to like go get a double espresso from Starbucks or whatever just to keep up with this guy's energy."
I like the Jackson Dart. He's like, show me your snap count. And Jackson Dart's just like, and he's just like, and
Yeah.
that's it.
He's like, ready, huh? He's like, Gruden's like, what's your snap count? It's so good.
And then like Gruden's like after that, he's like, the de-evolution of the game. Game hasn't changed for the better.
The people that have no idea what you guys are talking about are
Look it up.
so
Green's
lost.
John Camp, it's so good.
all-time guy. What about, have you started summer ball practice? I practiced
No, I
last
haven't
night
gone
as
yet.
like punishment for being a loser. I
I haven't
was on
gone
senior
yet.
practice and geared up.
No, I'll be going next Monday or Thursday. This Thursday.
Historic Queen's Park.
Yeah, make my debut.
When did the wood go down? Or is it already down?
Couldn't tell you. I haven't been there. I have no idea.
What have you been doing? Golfing?
Nothing. Like nothing. Working.
What you, Tino? How many games you had so far?
I played 2 games this season.
Really?
so
Yeah, you
far.
guys start up early. Are you guys out of Port Moody or out of Poco?
I mean, the last game that I played was in Port Moody, like the Olympic sized. Which
You got
for senior
active,
C,
It's like
eh? You
acid.
got
for senior
active.
C guys, that's
like
brutal.
you guys were playing field lacrosse on the concrete.
Yeah. How
2, and 1.
Yeah. How are you guys doing?
I think we actually just lost our first game this past week.
Sorry, were you there?
No, I wasn't.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
wow.
the difference.
I'm no,
The X Factor.
I've only played 2. We've played like 6 games. I've only been able to make 2 so far. But now that like my schedule's freed up a little bit now, so I'll be able to make. And also, I mean, like I know I keep bringing this up, but I'm finally picking up my goggles tomorrow. So I think my game is about to be elevated to.
Do you think
peak
would I
form.
be allowed to play senior C player?
No.
No,
I
You'd
don't
have
think.
to sign a C card.
Yeah, I don't think you'd be allowed with an A card.
not as player.
No, because it doesn't matter
Come
what
on,
position.
I just want to
you're
hang. I just
still
want to
the-
hang out. I just want to.
Just go coach.
No,
Go coach.
No,
There's a spot on the the Maple Ridge Burrards.
no. I'm a Port Moody address. I'm gonna go coach Port Moody
Yeah.
senior C.
We
I'd join you. Just hang out with the lads.
It'd be fun.
do you think in that case, like, are you doing any coaching?
No.
But you know what? Like there would be a situation where you call a timeout.
Yeah,
And
you're
you
like,
draw
boys,
us-
try this one.
You
try
draw
this
it
one."
up, and like if the boys act like the other team wouldn't know, like what do you mean they're running a play?
Yeah,
What's
if they
going on?
execute, then it's just electric.
How much of that league is like get it to the Italians? Like just give it to the 2 best players and let them cook. Right? All the other guys are standing there with no mesh in their stick.
My brother was playing last year, and it was more like there's not enough guys on his team. Like it was more so just like get it out of my stick because I'm fucking exhausted.
Also, when they put the turf down in Poco Blue last year, for a lot of the guys on my team, like it was the first time they'd ever played on turf before, and it was like
They're
a
having
big adjustment.
It was like us with the headphones, just sensory issues.
Yeah.
They're like a dog on a carpet. Just I feel so mobile.
Yeah.
Also, painfully quiet. Like
Yeah.
when there's no music in warm-ups, which is a pretty like often
Yeah, I
occurrence in
also
senior
think,
C.
Senior C, like no one's stretching, like more grip is not good for the
No.
CLs. Like
No.
the less traction, the better.
There's way too much senior C talk going on this podcast.
We should.
We're trying to be inclusive. You
Yeah.
said we bully you.
Yeah.
I
Now we're
didn't
trying
say
to
that
talk about you,
I
and
did
now
not
you're getting
say you
upset.
bullied me.
He just says he tells us that somebody else said it.
Yeah.
I-
My mom told me.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Actually, like Jen said this to me last week. She was like, because like in my group of friends, like I'm usually the quick-witted one that just like says stupid shit to them, and she's like, you're like kind of out of your element. Like you're kind of they're taking shots at you.
Yeah. It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think this summer we should do like get the junior guys in here. Like get
Yeah.
some junior A captains, get the coaches, get
I
players.
think the coaches, like I think like get Beersy in, try to get Pat to come on. Try to
Logan.
get Kurt. Logan, yeah. All
Yeah.
those guys. We could also go to a junior game and
Yeah.
do like
That's what I was saying. We should do like a team color commentary at a junior game.
If you guys want, like, I'll you guys can come in the booth with me if you want.
Yeah,
how
awesome.
much nonsense would there
Oh,
be?
it'd be great. Like
you-
you between the would you be between the benches or me?
I think it would have to be Delbs.
Yeah.
Delbs between the benches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I'd
like
be
your
handing the
environment.
rest water.
I actually think that you guys would be good on a broadcast.
What's the guy in the NHL, the bald guy? Maguire? Doug? No. What's the hell's his
Pierre
name?
Maguire.
Pierre
Yeah.
Maguire. That'd be you.
The little bobblehead guy.
Yeah, you're Pierre Maguire. He just knows everything about hockey.
I don't think you'd want to be Pierre Maguire.
I mean, he probably does okay.
Yeah, I think he's doing all right.
You probably want to be him.
No, okay. I don't think you want to be the Pierre Maguire of junior lacrosse.
Is there even a between the benches in junior? Like
No,
the,
there's the gate. Like you'd be like glassed. You know? You'd be in like the fishbowl.
Yeah.
Coquitlam there.
Having to get out of the way when they're going down to the tunnel.
Yeah. You're just, oh, sorry. Poco's got to exit now. I got to go, guys.
yeah.
That would be I think that would be some welcome content. I think people would love to hear you guys in a booth. All right, we can start to wrap this up here unless you guys got something else.
I think
you wanna get?
let's find one more good topic before we close it out.
I saw. Did you see the BC Lions? I think this is an old clip, but the BC Lions like receiver got player of the game, and the lady's interviewing, and she's like,
He's
"What's?"
like, I'm going to Cactus.
He's like,
for some
Cactus
Bellini."
Club on me. Cactus Club on me. He's like, get a Bellini. It's so funny.
It's so good.
If you haven't
I
seen
was
that
trying
clip,
to-
find it. It's incredible.
Alex Stafkis, our face-off guy. I was trying to explain to him who Anthony Calvillo was because I was calling him Calvillo because Calvillo kind of throws like the sidearms
Yeah.
and that's how he throws.
Yeah.
And he's like, who is that? I was like, I don't know, man. Like he wore like a triple XL jersey and has the most passing yards in pro football history. It's like 80,000 passing yards.
Yeah, yeah. He's
And
like
then
the
I
Aaron
show-
Rodgers of the
Yeah,
CFL.
I show him a photo. The guy's like, come on. Like, there's no way. Yeah, this is real football.
yeah.
Get running starts.
Are you guys karaoke guys at all? I was thinking about that recently.
No, I got a bad voice.
I'm a pretty good. I'm not a good singer, but I'm a good karaoke guy.
If you had like one karaoke song that you think you could perform, not just like sing. with
Summer
the lyrics.
Lovin' from Grease.
Whoa.
Really?
That's my karaoke song. Both parts, men and women. I swear.
Humble brag.
Yeah, you're a beast.
Delbs, come on, give me one.
Nothing. I can't even think of a song that I'd sing.
There's nothing that you just know all the words to.
No. Probably not. Like it's just white noise to me.
What a non-human answer.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
I don't know any music.
I was gonna say whatever. I forgot. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Episode 12, baby.
Yeah,
Well, short and sweet.
Yeah.
short and sweet. Yeah, we'll come back with some more. Oh, did we have any like debate topics?
I mean, somebody did bring up, a lot of people were talking about the grizzly thing, or not grizzly, sorry, gorilla thing. Ty was pretty oblivious and thought that we started this trend.
Yeah,
He had no idea that it was all over the internet before we brought it up.
The Warriors
dude,
stole
like,
our
The
thing.
Warriors stole our topic. It's like, dude, what? Like, I'm pretty sure the Kardashians came up with it. But yeah, they were saying, how bad do you think team morale would be affected for the 100 men when the first or second guy gets their arms ripped off and beaten with their own limbs?
Like how
You
many
think
guys
that-
are quitting?
Yeah, does that change team morale, you think? I would say it would change team morale.
Yeah. I think everyone's turning around.
you
Did
think?
you see that?
Yeah.
And I've been sending all these videos to Pacer, and it's like two gorillas are kind of like scrapping and wrestling around, and one of them kind of kicks up dust, and the dust goes in the one gorilla's eye, and it kind of like a kid, like and runs away.
Yeah, and the caption is like, "We found a weakness."
Yeah, it cuts to like a king of the hill, sand in my pocket.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I have one written down here that you guys may think this is the stupidest thing in the world, but there's kind of a story behind it. Like the question is the best way to clean a toilet. But I need to give you that. There's two options here. So like let me just explain. So the backstory is at my sister-in-law's like bachelorette or something like that. Like my wife Jen was there as well. My sister-in-law brought up that my brother, so she's talking to all of her girlfriends and she's like, yeah, and Dom cleans the toilet with a cloth in just his hand kind of thing. And all the girls were like, all the girls there were like, what the hell? And
It's
Jen,
sick.
well, hang on though,
sick
hang
on
on,
play.
because Jen is telling me the story and I was like, I'm on Dom's side. Like I do the same, like cloth.
Kind of.
Like
mean,
bare hand.
Well, put a glove on if you want.
But
kind of thing.
you do a bare
do a
bone.
bare hand with a cloth.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm not going into a shitty toilet kind
But
of.
you
I
are.
have-
But you are.
But hang on here, because the debate turned into like how, like, I think it's more efficient and you're cleaning the toilet better in that case than if you use like a brush because you're getting more leverage.
Dude,
And this
how,
be-
like, I'm sorry, like, so we have a toilet that flushes very poorly at our house right now that I got changed. But like, how much poo do you have in there that like you're worried about leverage? Tino? Like, this isn't.
You don't want to
this
thoroughly
isn't
clean
meeting-
your toilet bowl?
This isn't meeting somebody in the A gap. This is a toilet. Tino. Like, it's not low man wins. Like,
You don't
what
want
are
to
you talking
thoroughly
about?
clean your toilet.
But yeah, like a brush with like a little bit of cleaner, disinfection.
'Cause I just think if
Does
you're
it.
going at it with one of those brushes that has like the foot long rod, and like, what are you really doing there? Like, you're not
You're not
hardly-
touching the poo water. That's what you're not
yeah,
doing.
that 1 foot is the barrier between your hand and poo.
Yeah.
I mean, there are gloves if you want. I just think so. Like my wife was telling me the story, and she's like expecting me to be on her side, and I was like, no way.
But also, what are you cleaning it with?
Yeah,
Like, what's
She went home and she threw out every dishcloth. Eh?
yeah? Like,
She's like, we've been cleaning
Yeah,
our dishes
good
with
point.
these.
Good point. Where does that?
Do you
cloth
have
go?
a
Is that
separate
just the
one?
toilet bowl?
Well, I mean,
is it a face cloth? Like, what are you
there's
using?
disposable sponges, or there's specific like cleaning cloths.
Okay.
You know, it's not like these face cloths that are she's using in the bath or whatever are what I'm using. Like, I think that this is the most efficient way. And like, this debate was brought up at their wedding. This debate has been brought up at family dinners. Like, this is an ongoing discussion.
I'm sorry. My first instinct isn't going for like a washcloth.
No.
It's the little scrubby
Wow.
thing.
Yeah.
I really thought you guys were going to be on my
No.
side.
No way.
No.
We brought this up. Like, I was at a cabin trip like a bunch of years ago, and like me and one of my close friends. I don't know why. In his living room, it was like a new cabin or whatever, and he hadn't installed this new toilet yet. So we just had this like non-working like toilet with no water in it kind of thing. And we brought this up, and he was adamantly against me. So we put on like a presentation. Like, we each got 2 minutes to try to like plead our case. So I was
Yeah,
down
they
on
got
a knee.
Mars bar and smudged it in.
Clean this. Let's
Yeah,
see.
whoever cleans it first wins.
So yeah, this
Tino's using his tongue. More leverage. More leverage.
Why is the Mars bar upside down,
Yeah.
Tino?
I had a kid in here yesterday. U9. Yeah, U9. He goes, Coach, do you ever do a bazooka? I was like, a what? He's like, do you ever do a bazooka? I was like, a bazooka? He's like, yeah, do you ever do that? I was like, what is that? He's like, it's a gigantic poo. I was like, oh my God,
How old is
dude.
this kid, sorry?
8. 8 years old.
You're like, it's
Stay.
Keegan Bell.
Yeah.
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 You ever do a bazooka?
He went
Maybe.
home 100%, told mom,
Yeah.
guess what I told Tyler today?
Crazy.
Oh God. Okay, is that it? You guys got anything else now?
Yeah, that was like, I thought like we were scratching for stuff, and
When's your first game?
I think, oh God, I don't even know, 23rd maybe?
May
I don't know.
22nd, Queen's Park.
Who you guys playing? Probably
Nanaimo.
Coquitlam, I didn't even know.
Nanaimo. Timbermen
Yeah.
coming to town.
Who?
Bobby Kidd and the boys.
Yeah, I guess so. Newly
Yeah.
acquired.
Yeah.
Noah Manning too.
That's right. I forgot about that trade. Isn't Ticehurst on Nanaimo?
No, traded for
No.
Bobby Kidd and the boys.
Burnaby.
Tyson
Which I
Tyson's in
heard
Burnaby now.
summer rumblings that two of Burnaby's righties might be playing pie.
Hmm.
We'll have to wait and see.
A little more playing time for Silas Richmond then.
Maybe it is Silas Richmond.
Mm,
Wow.
I don't know. about that.
Breaking.
I don't know
I'm
if it's
sure.
Silas. I don't know if it's Silas.
He is a Ladner boy.
I did hear some rumors of Ben McDonald, I think it is, and Dunny potentially.
Who?
Dunbar.
Dunbar.
I mean, Burnaby's got a billion young righties, so
Yeah.
I wonder, like, if anybody from Burnaby listens to this and there's like,
they're like, whoa,
have
whoa,
never.
whoa.
Have
This is
no-
all like.
Have you
rumors.
seen the pickups that Six
NOL
Nations has made?
NOL rumors? Like we vet them so much more. Summer ball, we're just
Yeah.
like, ah,
Let 'em fly.
yeah. I heard this guy's getting $1 billion.
Yeah. Yeah. There are so many rumors about, and maybe they're true. I don't know. There are rumors about like what people get compensated to play in certain places. And last year there were rumors about people getting like Rolex watches and stuff to play. And it's like, man,
to play in Ladner or to
No. Yeah, they weren't even flossing their teeth with the money that we made in Ladner.
did you hear or have you seen like the pickups that Six Nations
Yeah,
has
the
made?
Latrell
It's
and
ridiculous.
Smith.
Latrell, Smith, Dawson, Theed. Like they're getting
Yeah.
better and better and better every day.
like, what do they do with all of their other pro players? Like, do they have like a 40-man holding pool? Like, they're gonna have to cut their players, and it's gonna go to the team that they're playing in the finals.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And Josh Burns there too now, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw some statement from like the Chaos in the PLL, and there,
Yeah.
yeah, Josh Burns gone.
He's like a real estate mogul now. Got,
Yeah,
like,
I think
4
his
properties.
wife is
Yeah.
big into that, and they've kind of gone into investment properties.
Good
Yeah.
for him. That's the NLL. Hey, pro lacrosse. You can make it big.
Yeah, you make it big and start selling houses. Mitch Jones is even doing it.
Yeah.
Didn't you say it was the best part-time job in the world?
It is the world's greatest part-time job. I stand by it. You get to pretend that you're a professional athlete.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
Except Tyler doesn't like the flights.
Hate the flights.
Well, CBA negotiations coming up in a few months here.
Yeah. That's not.
Fly
getting
less.
fixed.
That's what I did.
Yeah. Simple. Yeah.
It's a simple game.
Yeah.
Only game. Why you have to be mad?
All right, that is going to do it for episode 12. Thank you to everybody for joining us for another episode of Morning Shoot Around. Delbs, apologies that the Couch Chronicles
Yeah, R.I.P.
are going to make their return here.
It's a sad day. It's a bad day.
Yeah, good luck to you boys in summer ball season, which is of course coming up in a couple of weeks here. Thank you to our sponsors, the Performance Center, as well as Extreme Threads. Remember, ad space is available. Get in touch with one Tyler Pace if you are interested. And as always, we will see you next time.
One last quick ad. Good teammates. Bump the show one day because I was too depressed yesterday.
Yeah. That's all right. Feel it. Thanks, guys.